Well, good morning, everybody. It's a Saturday morning, and it's a beautiful morning out there. I hope you have some time to get out and about, and it's a good morning to go for a walk. Unfortunately, I don't have time for that today. It's going to be a little bit of a hectic morning. Um, so, with that, I'm going to take off a smaller bite than I had anticipated. I got a call last night that they're coming to deal with the bats in the buildings this morning. And so I've got to get done here and get ready for that. They were supposed to give us a couple days warning, but they didn't. So, and we need to get rid of the bats because Brenda's starting to see evidence of them in other parts of the building, and that's not good. We can't have that. So I've got to be ready for them. So I'm going to cut this a little short. So we're not going to cover as many verses as I thought. We'll just deal with. We're in Luke, and I didn't mention it's August 29th, Saturday. We're going to look at Luke chapter 2. We're going to look at verses 21 to 24 only. I was going to go further than that. I think I was going to go to 32 is what the original plan was. But we'll deal with 25 to 32 on Monday, I guess, and maybe a little more. I'll see what I want to do. Probably just those, though. So anyway, we're going to kind of move quickly through this one just because, unfortunately, I got to be ready to be batty. Does that make sense? All right. So let's take a look at this. Luke chapter 2, 21 to 24. After 8 days had passed, it was time to circumcise the child, and he was called Jesus, the name given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. When the time came for their purification according to the law of Moses, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As is written in the law of the Lord, every firstborn child, or male rather, shall be designated as holy to the Lord. And they offered a sacrifice according to what is stated in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtledoves or two young pigeons. Okay. Jesus has been born. We talked yesterday about the shepherds and that they're watching these sheep. Okay, and that it's possible, don't know, but in that region there would have been the sheep that were the sacrificial lambs. Okay, and of course this is one of the times when you would use one of those sacrificial lambs that they have out there in the pasture near Bethlehem. Would have been when you brought a firstborn, okay, firstborn male. Every firstborn, and actually, I think it actually says does it say every male or every child? A firstborn male child is dedicated to the Lord, and so you have to redeem them back. They're considered to be God's property. That goes back to the whole Passover thing. You know, you mark the door frames and with the blood, and so that the angel would pass over and not kill your firstborn, and so it ties back into that. It's in Leviticus chapter 12. All of this stuff that we're talking about here today, I think all of it is pretty much in Leviticus 12. I didn't have time to go back and read Leviticus 12, and I'm not going to read it this morning because we don't have time. But it's talked about there, and that's what it's about. Jesus, in this short little bit of verses that we did here, there's been 3 ritual things that have gone on. That's why we don't have time to do more. The first thing, of course, is the circumcision. And remember when we were going through Galatians, and this is the thing Paul, so riled up about, the circumcision. Well, Jesus was circumcised on the 8th day, according to the law. His parents are devout and observant Jews. They're not just, they're not just playing the game. They're living the life. Okay, so they have him circumcised, and he's named on the 8th day. Okay, after his birth. Then once the time had passed, and I think it's roughly 40 days, they take him and present him to the temple, and they ask to get him redeemed. They're paying the price of redemption. Now that price is supposed to have been a lamb. Okay, there's actually the redemption of the firstborn, according to the law, which is in Exodus, not Leviticus, Exodus chapter 13. Every firstborn male, both of human beings and of cattle, was sacred to God. That law may have been a recognition of the gracious power of God in giving human life, or it may even have been a relic of the day when children were sacrificed to the gods. Clearly, if it had been carried out literally, life would have been disrupted. There was therefore a ceremony called the redemption of the firstborn, which is in Numbers 18. It is laid down that for the sum of 5 shekels, approximately 75 pence, parents could, as if it were, buy back their son from God. The sum had to be paid to the priest. It could not be paid sooner than 31 days after the birth of the child, and it might not be long delayed after that. Okay, I got that a little bit confused. So they're redeeming the child for money. The other has to do with the purification after childbirth for Mary, where she has to pay up for a sin offering and a purification offering. And it's supposed to be a lamb and a dove, but if you're poor, you can give up two birds, okay, a pair of turtledoves. This is one of the ways we know that they're not affluent. They don't go and give a lamb and a dove. They go in and give two loaves. That's the poor offering, is what it's called. It is an offering of the poor, which Mary brought. Again, we see that it was into an ordinary home that Jesus was born, not a home that was wealthy by any means. But we look at this and we realize that they were being observant to the old ways, weren't they? Jesus didn't come to remove a dot or a tittle. So it's an interesting thing. And then we contrast that with Paul, and we contrast that with Paul's conflict with James. It's really interesting. As I've said many times, if I could go back in time, and since if we're going to eliminate Jesus from the equation, because people always say, I want to talk to Jesus. If you eliminate Jesus from the equation, if who you'd like to talk to from the past, I'd love to be able to sit down and talk to Paul and James at the same time, and find out what was going on. I'd really love to know that. Someday I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to know that. And we'll look forward to that day. But the bottom line is that Jesus was born into a common home. He was observant. His family was observant to God. His family was devout to God. And that's what we want. We want to live a life that's devoted to God and to serving God and to obeying God. And that's what it's all about. So I'm going to cut this short, a little chaotic, because I had a plan in mind, and now I kind of messed it up. So I changed some of the way I made my points. So forgive me for that. So I hope that you have a blessed day. I hope you have a day where you are able to bless someone today. But hey, if you can, if you're not having to do some things like I've got to deal with, if you can get out and enjoy the day, if you're here locally, by golly, get out there. Because right now at this very moment, it's about as pretty a day as you can get. All right? Have a blessed one, and we'll see you tomorrow for church at 10. Probably be outside. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful morning. Okay? Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.